In our fast-changing technological age, what resources are out there to help you teach secondary design and technology? Well, today on Resource Review, we're looking at 3 that might interest you. Lighting resource packs.
Now we're going to go down the sheet and look at the type of things you would do when analysing a product.
A museum visit.
If you've got wet hands, you'll just slip and you'll be having loads of trouble.
And a thought-provoking book about the environmental impact of design. Will they give our panel of D&T experts food for thought? Find out here on Resource Review. Joining me to recommend today's resources, we have David Spendlove. David is lecturer and researcher in design and technology education at the University of Manchester. On the panel today we have Aileen White. Aileen is assistant head teacher at the Thomas Aveling School in Rochester, and Aileen is also a D&T writer and trainer for the Specialist Schools and Academies Trust. On the panel we also have John Myerson. John is a freelance design and technology education consultant. Welcome to you all. Thanks for coming. David, let's begin with a rather exciting looking resource, these 2 lighting resource packs that we have on the table. Can you explain them to us and why you like them?
Essentially, this is a pack for introducing polypropylene to schools, and so what it does is give children a chance to design in intuitive ways, but what it also does is introduce them to a range of items that children can actually design and make in the classroom. This particular pack introduces polypropylene through a range of products, and it's particularly orientated towards lighting. And what it also does is it allows children to invest a lot of time in the designing stage rather than the manufacturing stage and come up with high quality products as well.
OK, well thank you very much. Before we discuss it any further, let's see whether the lighting resource pack really can light up lessons. We visited East Barnet School in Hertfordshire, where D&T teacher Caroline Ron-Karate trialled the torch handling pack with her Year 9 class.
First of all, product analysis. Can somebody tell me what we mean by product analysis? I was using the Spice lighting pack, which it came with a CD-ROM and a folder and 3 torches. Now we're going to go down the sheet and look at the type of things you would do when analysing a product. After explaining to them what product analysis is and how we use it, they then had to analyse a torch, a particular torch that I had given them. This, I think it was a good support for product analysis, which is an area which they have to know about in Key Stage 3.
I don't think it'll be very durable because there's quite a lot of holes, say like water or anything could get in there.
When they'd finished the product analysis, we went on to adapting the design of the torch to turn it into a hands-free torch.
Ours is cool and easy to work because it just goes with your hand as well. It probably should be a bit tighter.
What I would say about the worksheets, although it's nicely presented and it's easy to read, they didn't use the space very effectively, and there wasn't really enough room for the students to actually write on the worksheets themselves. The CD had lots of photographic images of a variety of different lights, but I didn't find them of a very high quality. There were 3 ideas for projects in the resource, which I think were quite good. There was one on designing a light using other products. I think that was a very nice idea. They did give schemes of work which were fine. However, as a resource, there wasn't really enough information. It wasn't really prescriptive enough. I think possibly I would adapt some of the tasks, some of the projects, and use those, but I don't think as a whole resource I would use it again.
Well, David, Caroline showed there that you can use this pack in a different way from how you were describing. It's really more of a starter pack, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, essentially, what she's doing is correct in that she's building upon a small resource of handheld lighting and is building that into a much bigger exercise. And essentially, it's up to the teacher then to mould this activity to be more effective with children in that sense.
Well, let's see what the panel think. Aileen, are you a fan of these resource packs?
Yes, in our school we're using these, and we used them as a start point to develop a Year 9 scheme of work, which was a longer project. And the product analysis part, we actually went and bought a load of extra polypropylene light shades, and we used that for product analysis that then feeds into the students' own designs.
So do you really need the packs? I mean, there is a cost involved, 50 quid, I think, for the torch handling pack. Isn't it something that teachers could just bring together themselves?
We found that the scheme of work actually gives you a number of websites where you can get resources, and also gives you a scheme of work starter. So you're not having to start totally from scratch. You have some ideas that you can then go from. So if a teacher hadn't worked with polypropylene before, it actually gives them lots of tips to get them into it to begin with.
OK. Well, John, over there, what do you think of these resources?
Well, the other good thing is that real designers are shown on the CD-ROM. You can see the manufacture of actual lighting that's sold in the shops and how the designer has gone about it. Well, it's really nice to have an alternative material that is modern and is colourful and is flexible and durable. It's nice to model in card and paper, but to have something which is a little bit more permanent is great.
And do you see the pupils responding well to it because it's something quite modern?
Well, I think the point that John just made is that one of the key issues is that you spend a lot of time designing and modelling, and often we bypass the modelling stage in schools and go straight to the manufacture.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Let's move on now to David's second choice of resource, something completely different. This is a visit to the Design Museum. So tell us about this.
Essentially, the Design Museum is iconic, and it's one of those places that every teacher should go at some stage. And one of the things about the Design Museum is that they run activities for primary or secondary school pupils, and also for teachers as well. In this particular example, it's for secondary school pupils developing a hands-on approach, a product analysis approach to design products.
OK, well, let's take a look round ourselves. We tagged along with Coran Laws and her Year 9 class from Oriel High School in Crawley, Sussex, on their visit to the Design Museum.
Today we're bringing the students to the Design Museum, where the Design Museum staff are running a product analysis workshop.
Have you heard of the word ergonomics? Yeah? Can you tell us what ergonomics means? Is it sort of how user-friendly it is and how it's designed to do its function?
The first workshop is product analysis, where they spend an hour with one of the Design Museum staff. It's called Mystery Products. A range of products were set out on the tables. The Design Museum's member of staff actually spoke to them about what questions they ought to be thinking in their mind when those products are placed in front of them, and how to evaluate them, really, how to measure what their function is, what the aesthetic is. So it's basically getting them to be a bit of a detective and kind of getting them to discover the answers to questions that they can pose themselves.
If you've got wet hands, you'll just slip and you'll be having loads of trouble.
It would be useful with the droughts now because less water used.
Yeah. You've got to think about the plants as well.
The second session is walking around the exhibition, so they're actually going to find out some more about products designed by particular designers. I think what can be offered by the Design Museum is obviously they've got access to a greater range of products and some of the best examples of, you know, current and past designs. And as a school, you can't really get hold of those products to do your product analysis in a classroom.
My best part so far is where we went into that room and we're labeling all the products.
I think what the students get by coming here is an opportunity to get inspired about design work, and hopefully they'll be able to take some of their ideas back to school and make some more exciting things. So far, the sort of vibe I've picked up of the students is that they're all really excited to be here.
Well, David, those pupils definitely seem to be getting a lot out of that visit, but the Design Museum, based in London, it just begs the question, how realistic is it for other schools to get there, say from Newcastle or Manchester?
I think it's a terrible reflection on our country that we have one place like that, which is based in London. There are other alternatives, such as the Science and Technology Museum or Urbis, which are both in Manchester, and there are other places to go, but I do think the Design Museum is one of those places that people have to try and make an effort to go if they can. It may be something that is going to be part of a whole-day trip, so it might involve the Science Museum or something like that to make it more worthwhile, but it is a bit of a problem if you're sort of south of Birmingham, sorry, north of Birmingham.
North of Birmingham, yeah, but if you're in London, definitely put it on the list.
Definitely, yeah.
OK. Well, John, Is it something that you would really encourage schools to make the effort to go all that way?
Well, it's certainly important to see products and designed products that are really good, which you don't see normally in school or perhaps in the local shops.
Yeah. So actually, physically being there, there really is little substitute for that.
It's very important to go out and see well-made objects elsewhere, yes, but it's also possible to get designers to come into school and bring their objects with them.
Right, turn the resource on its head, get them to come
That's
to
right.
you, possibly. Another resource there. Aileen, is it something that you would want to do with your pupils?
We've just recently done a trip to the Design Museum, but it had to be a small group. So you have to realise if you're going to go, it can only tend to be one class, and then you have to think about where that's going to be best to do. But the group definitely got loads out of it. One of the exhibitions at the moment is chairs throughout history, and you can't bring that into the classroom. That's just priceless to be able to see those. We did one of the workshops as well. The only thing was that it was only half an hour. We booked and we thought it was going to be an hour, but it was only actually half an hour.
Right.
But it was such a good activity and something we couldn't necessarily do in the classroom with those children.
OK, well, now let's move on to David's third choice, and this time it's a book, just sitting here at the front of the table. It's In the Bubble, Designing in a Complex World. I mean, what are you saying? This is an interesting book, but how is this a resource for secondary teachers?
I think that every teacher should be reading this book, every design technology teacher, because this goes beyond just the superficial levels that's often presented in schools of what design technology is. This is very, very powerful stuff that shows the sort of the context of design and the impact of design. I mean, the big theme is about both complexity and sustainability. And there's some lovely examples in there. For instance, one of the things it says is about the fact that the average CD is used only once in its lifetime. That's a terrible waste of materials and resources. Now, again, we have to think about the impact of this. And one of the things about design technology is that not many children are actually going to be designers or engineers, but every one of them is going to be a powerful consumer.
Well, we haven't got much time left. Let me just come to Aileen first.
I felt the content of the book, I'd agree, that the content is absolutely vital. The concepts behind it, that the design actually is totally all-encompassing in our lives. However, what I felt about the book was that it was a university kind of level book, and it was the kind of thing, if you were a teacher, you would probably read in the summer. It wasn't as digestible as perhaps I'd hoped, as somebody who's coming home at night after a very busy day and lots of meetings after school.
John, with that in mind, is it still something that you would suggest for secondary D&T teachers to read?
I mean, it's the strong argument that design and technology is for everyone, not just a few specialists. That's the most important message that comes out of a book like that. It's talking about human beings being designers.
OK. Well, I'm really sorry, but that's all we've got time for today. Thank you all very much for some lively discussion. To recap, the three resources that we looked at were the Lighting Resource Pack from Snelling and Palmer Interactive Education, a visit to and workshop at the Design Museum in London, and In the Bubble, Designing in a Complex World, published by the MIT Press. For more information about all of the resources that we've discussed today, go to our website, it's teachers.tv/resource review, or if you want to, email us, resourcereview@teachers.tv. So a big thank you to our panel, to David, to Aileen and to John. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Resource Review. Bye-bye.